Welcome to Canadian Art Today with your host, Constable.
And we are here. Ooh, that's giving away the secret.
You
can't give away the secret. So, but then again, most people don't pay attention to the first 30 seconds of the show, so we're good. So,
well, this is great. This is like part two.
Part two.
And I'll say it's Holly Hildebrand, who's a multimedia artist and mixed media artist as well. We have got, and she's cranky today. She's just really cranky today. So we're pleased to have Holly here, and she's going to show us it's not a new form of work, but it's a way that another way of communicating. It's got an old way of like film and working with moving images, and you can do your drawing, and it's kind of cool. And
I've seen it. It's fascinating. I don't think people know about it, so I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, we'll show some stills, and then we're going to try and flip into actually you can watch couple of the crankies that we have. They've given us the rights to play, so I'm really excited about that. And I'd love just to welcome Holly to our
bring her in. All right, hold on 1 second.
Of Holly's stuff. There she is.
Holly, welcome back again.
Yeah. Yes. Nice to be here again.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. No, we've got we're really both Steve and I both are really looking forward to this conversation and see some of the. Hopefully, we get all the techie stuff going and it'll work.
Yes, very excited about this. And this is one where I'm going to disappear again. But I've seen your work. I am thrilled that you were here. It's a privilege and a pleasure. So I'm hoping all the fans that don't know your work or don't know what a cranky is will also feel the same when they see it. So I'll let you and Paul have at it and enjoy. And we can't wait to see it and have a wonderful show, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, it'll be great. Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, nice to be here again.
Well, you know what? It's best to segment things a little bit into part two. I think people really it's different, but I can see it being an extension of what your previous works are about, your personal works, because you can see the way you draw and the way the imagery, and you're influenced by nature, and you love collaborations, and I think you're probably one of the most prolific collaborators I've I guess when you talk about a lot of this stuff, we're talking about you're champion of like a creative spirit, and you kind of believe in the I guess that it's integral to one's health and holistic life, and we're going to talk about crankies today, and they're just so fun. Like you do these static pictures that go on and on and on. And how long are some of these crank, like lengthwise? Like,
oh my gosh, yeah, like 30 feet,
30
or more. Yeah, it's like it gets crazy.
30 feet of film, basically, but it's big film, right? Hand drawn, and it's pretty amazing to see some of the things that you're doing. And we're just going to, because I want to have time, we'll start with image number one here, Stephen. I think Stephen is going to have to get our images going here. There we go. Yeah. So, well, that's the introduction, and we give, your collaborators and the music trio, the band Hollers is singing some of the backgrounds, and Gord is in one of the pieces here as well. Your husband, and who wrote this piece as well. So hopefully, we have time to click back and forth, and we can watch some of the earlier pieces, and then the piece by Hollers, the one that we're gonna would be one of the features is. It's one that you know about, and the ladies that worked in that group, but it's one that I think would stick with people a little bit to see what we're doing. Here we go. So what is a cranky? Can you tell us how a cranky works?
All right. I think first I better start right at the beginning because
Okay, do that. Yeah.
I have to be really, really upfront. I am not a great cranky artist, but I happen to be lucky enough and privileged enough to work with some other women who are fabulous at the cranky artist genre. And they introduced me to it, and they know far more than me. So I'm not even going to pretend that I am like a great person with the crankies. But because of them, they've got me inspired about this, and I'm happy to talk to you about it and sort of promote this form of art because it is really fun and accessible to people of all ages.
Right.
So the whole thing about Cranky started with my friend Sharon Burns, who is an educator and who I worked with in many different ways. She's always a great person, and she loves to collaborate also. So she and Birgit Lessing and Oriole Dancer are some artists that we worked collectively together and call ourselves the Dreamers now because we've put together shows and crankies and different things. So we call ourselves the Dreamers. And they are great cranky artists. And their part of Crankies, I think, came about not only by them learning about the cranky itself and its history, but they're also really big into making puppets and things. And part of the puppet making is shadow puppets, which also work well with crankies. So that's sort of how it all sort of ties together. And I might be not telling this history as accurately as they would, but that is how I got into it, is we started doing things together, and then all of a sudden we decided, oh, well, this could turn into a cranky. And then, of course, Ravens She Hollers is a wonderful musical trio, and doing things to live music makes everything better, right? And so using their music just made the whole thing much more exciting.
Yeah.
So that's
this
sort of how that started.
So this is a device. It's kind of an open box with a a reel on each end. One has the crank and one holds the paper in the reel, and you slowly wind it and it goes across. And if you had an audience of kids sitting on the floor, they could sit and watch people just physically crank it, or you take a video with your camera of it, and you now have a video of the cranky. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so that's as simple as I'm just mentioning it. So you can tell your story however you want in as long a line as you would like, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is sort of how one of the crankies started. The idea of working collaboratively, this particular piece was when the Dreamers, Birgit Lessing, Sharon Burns, Oriole Dancer, and myself went up to Ness Creek, which is up in the boreal forest. It's a place where there's music festivals and things like that. So there was the Northern Lights Bluegrass and Old Time Music Festival, and we went up there to create. We had this idea we would do a huge cranky on cloth. And so we didn't have a clue what the cranky was going to be about. We just knew it would be influenced by the place and the music that would be going on there during that week. So here we are sort of storyboarding, what do we want this to be about? And so we did up little Post-its and put them through, and the circles that you can see on the lower piece of paper, those were going to be screens that would be blank within the painted cranky piece, where shadow puppets would be lit from behind to actually interact during the show. We didn't even have music for it at this point, but we just were planning it out, how it was going to go. And that's sort of how each storyline gets started.
Right. Yeah, you can see there's a bit of a blow up on the right hand side, and it shows you that little vignette area that you've allocated for that technique to be put into place.
Right, right. And then and the characters that we wanted to put in and what it was all about. Yeah.
I think you need to write it down. You're right. When you do storyboarding, it sometimes just starts with writing. And then that way you know what you're going to draw and how you're going to maybe even merge things together a little bit. And this one, you got to kind of think about how one image kind of merges with the next one, and that the continuity that pulls together. Otherwise, they're just a bunch of slides that have they got little stops and starts in them, and you kind of want to have that smooth rhythm of the magic of the story coming from the one reel, and it's finally appearing coming across the page, and you go, what's the next image, what's the next thing, and you see different things that go on. So they and it's kind of how long do they run? 3 minutes about?
Yeah, well, and different ones are different lengths. Now, this particular one, this is kind of a hard one to start with, because of course we planned it out this way because this was collaborative. Necessarily, if I were doing one on my own, it might not work the same way, right? But because we were working collaboratively, we all had ideas that we wanted to integrate into the story, what we felt was important about that place and the music. So for working collaboratively on one, this was a good way to start, for sure.
Little post-it so you can move around.
Yeah, because
the other, you have sort of a creative jam session to start with.
That was exactly it. And our very first Crankie, this was not our first Crankie. This was one that we did later after doing several others that were part of an exhibition that we did. But this one was later on. So we were getting a little bit more in tune with how our process worked together. But it's always good, like anything else, a little bit of brainstorming can go a long way.
Yeah. Okay, here's the cloth thing laid out.
You bet.
So an idea of how long some of these are, the cloth.
Yeah, I think that our final one, I think this one was about 35 feet. And we did do some, and it was quite fun. We took this piece, our whole idea when we went up to do this was that we wanted it to so much be part of that place, and it's called Dreaming the Land. In the end, is what we called it. But the whole idea of it, how the land was born and how the plants grew and the medicine from that place, and then how it became a place for music to get together, and the character Jack Milliken, who was integral in making all of these music festivals and to come to life there. So we were incorporating all of that into this long story. So that's
okay. So what Crankie is this one called?
This one is called Dreaming the Land.
Well, this is the Dreaming the Land one. So just so I know that when we pull it up here.
Yeah, and I don't have any video of this. Sadly, this piece was performed to live music at the festival, and it was never recorded. So this was sort of like a one-shot thing at this point. It may be, we may regenerate it in different ways, and it just happened that a woman, Pamela Johnson, had won a place at this camp. She's a professional musician as well, but she won a place at this bluegrass school that went on that week. And the song that she wrote that won her spot was perfect for what we were doing. So one night we set up this Crankie in the dark with a fire, and she played the song, and we pulled the Crankie for the very first time. It was just it was just something we worked on that week and presented. So it was kind of a cool experiential thing.
It'd be nice if you could still collaborate with her and get it finished. And,
yes.
And do a redo, even if she did send a recording that could be attached to it. And
we did do there was a gentleman who was filming all of this for us, this whole process of creating this Crankie, and we have yet to see the final results of that, but it's kind of fun. But yeah, this is the very first Crankie that we as the Dreamers put together.
Right.
And it is, again, a piece that goes to Raven She Hollers song that Nissa Shiel wrote. And how this piece came about was when Sharon first had the idea that we would collaborate on perhaps putting together a little exhibition, was the idea. we all met together, and this was just pre-pandemic, actually, just before that happened. And we did a whole big, we just laid out a big piece of paper and started brainstorming about what our exhibition would be about. And then it became kind of interesting, and we turned that big brainstorming sheet into a Crankie to put to this new piece of music that Nissa had made.
Right.
So that's just some stills of images of that we did on that.
Well, we're going to try and play Cold Snap.
Oh, excellent.
I think we do have that. Bear with me for a moment. I think
the Raven She Hollers group is a wonderful trio of women that live up at Birch Lake.
See that?
I cannot see it. No.
You can't see that?
No, it's not showing up.
Maybe it's because I don't know.
You have to share your screen.
I did share the screen. I don't know why that won't.
Well.
Can you see that now?
No, it looks like, here we go.
Okay.
Looks like you're going to start halfway through. You might want to pull back to the beginning.
Back to the beginning.
It's kind of fun.
There we go. We're learning.
On this frozen ground, solitary footsteps in the snow, they echo the sound of cold. Aurora Borealis, queen over the forest, swirling, whirling light, dancing on longest night. Oh, and the moonlight is down on that frozen ground, solitary footsteps in the snow echo the sound of
There we go.
So you can see on that at the beginning, you could see there was all that writing and everything. And that was the very basis. That was the first thing that we collaborated on for that. And our first Cranky that we did together was kind of fun. And it was, again, just like a simple idea that just kind of, moved on and then kind of got the juices going for more and more of these.
So should you come up with a theme, kind of a written idea, what you want to communicate about? Like, is that where this little clip comes from? Like the nature, is it about nature? Is it about travel? Is it about, what was that cold snap really about? Right.
Well, I think, because we had started collaborating together in the middle of winter, it was very, very cold the first day that we met. And I think we started again with our ideas for what we would do for an exhibition or a show. But then when Nissa's idea of this song that she had played in, it was about, in winter, you're dreaming about all of this stuff, all of these things. And so that was a starting point. And then we just elaborated on that with any kind of visuals that we thought fed into each other. Working collaboratively like that is so fun, because one person would put down an image, and then we'd all be working on this big long piece of paper. One person would put down an image, and then after a certain amount of time, we'd all just trade places. So then you change that person's image, add things to it. And so they would just sort of blend into each other. And it was very fun. And it kind of becomes sort of lyrical, like the music, the way it moves along like that.
We'll get Stephen to bring our images up on our page here. If he's there we go. We'll just move on to our next image here. So
these images that you're showing here is kind of interesting. So that meeting where Cold Snap first appeared, and we did that Cranky, we put together an entire exhibition of a lot of our own personal work that was all about this idea. We called it Confluent Dreams, because we were all thinking about all different sorts of ideas. And again, these happened over the pandemic. We started together, and then we couldn't see each other. So then we were talking to each other and sort of thinking about how pieces would go together. So when we finally had an exhibition at the Chapel Gallery, it was really well received. And down what they call the Windows Gallery, we put a big long piece of paper again down this huge hallway, and we invited people to add images and draw and words to color onto these pieces of paper, sort of their feelings about the exhibition that we had. And during the exhibition, of course, we showed the Cranky that we had done at the beginning and some others. So this particular Cranky is a collaborative piece done with the community. Anybody who came to see our exhibition at that opening or over the course of its showing for 6 weeks, they were invited to contribute to this Cranky, which we in turn made.
Yeah, so you said this one is Confluent Dreams?
This particular piece was done to, I think, End of Time, another Hollers song, because we was talking about the end of our show is what we were thinking about when we chose that song. But this piece is made by the community, and then we took all of that they had done and then just sort of refined it a bit so that it all bled together to create this particular Cranky.
Well, let's try and get this one up here. We'll play this one.
I always think it's so wonderful. Hollers has such great music, and it just moves along so liltingly, and it's wonderful. So we thought this particular piece worked really well with this big collaboration.
So this one was called End of Time. I got it here.
There you go.
Can you see that?
Not yet.
Again.
Isn't technology wonderful?
Oh, cancel that. I forgot how he did this. I go. I don't know.
Well, while you're working on that, I'll talk about this piece. When we had our exhibition, it was kind of fun. And as I say, we just laid out this, not laid out, it was on the wall, this
On
big,
there now?
this big long piece. And so there was kids from every age doing it. And we just put different kinds of art supplies out, just simple things like markers and oil pastels for people to use. To add their images and their ideas about what dreams are about, what do they dream about of the land.
Yeah, I'm having an issue trying to pull that up. What did I do? Oh goodness, I can't. I think maybe it is because the our PowerPoint is visible. I think that maybe the PowerPoint is interrupting what we're doing. There we go.
Have to start all over again.
Well, we can back up where it's. So this one is called End of Time. Can you see it now?
Nope.
I don't like that. I am having an issue here. Oh, well, we'll just try one more time here. Share screen. It worked so good last time.
In the meantime, whilst you're working on that, I'll talk about maybe some other collaborative things that we've done Crankie-wise. The whole idea of the Crankies, once Sharon and Birgit and Oriel sort of introduced me to that idea, it was fun for me to try and think about things on my own.
Right.
Yeah. So even though we did those ones collaboratively, Crankies were new to me. It was not something that I had done. I had seen works that they had done, but I had never done it. But it inspired me to want to try one on my own. And so that's when I decided I would try and make this one that I have behind me here.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm having issues here trying to. I'm not the techie that you might think I am here.
And no matter what kind of techie you think you are, there's always going to be something new, isn't there?
There we go.
So as I say, I had never had anything to do with it before. Oh, looks like we've got it. Oh, excellent.
And why don't we play that?
Perfect. You bet. Uh-oh. That's not one? Nope. This is what happened last time. Oh, this is a whole different thing.
I got playing somebody's music. Yeah, I gotta. I don't want to do that. I pressed the right one, but I think I had
something else playing in the background or something. Yeah.
It was. It had the right. I had the right clip, but for some reason it pulled up an old clip I had. Yay! This is not good.
Well, I'll continue talking about what I was mentioning before, if that's okay, while you're working on that.
Well, yeah, but I don't know why it flipped over to that other segment. Well, I'm having issues. Yeah, well, I hate wasting time here.
In the meantime, I'll just tell you a little bit more about the whole Crankie idea. So the whole thing is like no.
Okay.
Crankies can be about anything, and they can be made any size. The first thing that we talked about, the big cloth cranky, was huge. It was 3 feet by 30 some feet, and we worked around trees to make it work with shadow puppets behind. These ones here that the last one that you saw and this Making Art Together one are on pieces that are about maybe 24 inches high, and then again probably close to 25, 30 feet. It's amazing how much, once you start going, the imagery really can take over. You get carried away adding more and more. But again, we sort of storied it to fit the length of the song that we chose, being that we're working with music. This one, if you that Paul has up on the screen now, this was a wonderful cranky.
I'm going to try and get this one up. I think
people would really enjoy this one. I had no part in this piece. This happened before I had before I started to work on crankies with Sharon, Birgit, and Oriel. But this one is a fantastic, really well refined piece, and it's to the song "Darlin' Corey" by.
Hey guys, I don't be rude, but we can't show that then. We don't have permission from the artist, so you won't be able to show that.
I gave you the artist. I sent you that information, David.
Oh, that's the permission? Oh, yeah. We can show it all day long. Just making sure.
No,
I'm gonna sit here and look pretty again. Bye-bye.
I might have this end of time one showed up here now. We might be able to play this. How's that?
Oh, there we go.
There we go. It's quirky how we're getting this done, and why I have no reason to understand why, but we're going to play this one first.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. This is the one that's collaborative.
Yes.
After all, the days are gone, the sun's died out, and the world's moved on. The stars will keep on shining on. When there is endless night, just think how bright those stars will shine. Maybe we should stargaze tonight. With no sun, just how dark would it be? No moon, no sunrise, no sunset to see, and no more northern lights up in the sky. And think that after all the days are gone, the sun's died out and the world's moved on. The stars will keep on shining on. When there is endless night, just think how bright those stars will shine. Maybe we should stargaze tonight. Da 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 da. Ooh. Someday there will be no more life on earth. There will be no more death and no more birth, no ocean waves, no trees, no birds flying high. And think that after all the days are gone, the sun's died out and the world's moved on. The stars will keep on shining on. When there is endless night, just think how bright those stars will shine. Maybe we should stargaze tonight. Da 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 da. let's go outside. Tonight, let's look up at the skies and imagine we are at the end of time, the end of time. Stargaze with me, 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 stargaze with me. After all the days are gone, the sun's died out and the world's moved on, the stars will keep on shining on. When there is endless night, just think how bright those stars will shine. Maybe we should stargaze tonight.
It's kind of a fun one when you think about kids from like 2 years old till, elderly people, everyone in between who contributed onto that. It was kind of fun.
Yeah. No, and then the music bed is fun to listen to. The thing drags along, and you can see. Well, it's hard to get like that many people with all on the same page, right? And you literally, in a collage manner, they're collaboratively working together, and they're trying to figure out what the story is, right? And they're doing their, and everybody draws differently, and everybody colors differently, and sees how things go and work, and it all works out. Like
It did. And we, as you could see, there was kind of joins in some of those parts. So in each section of the wall down this long hall where we put those pieces, we had put prompts because it was all inspired by our exhibition, The Confluent Dreams. But on each section, we had prompts about, what do you dream of? What do you dream of in your sleep? But what do you dream of in your life? And prompts like that, so that people had all sorts of different images, things that they loved, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah. No, so we'll bring up our slides here for a second and get Steve to bring them up. There we go. So our can you explain this? Okay, we're going to try and get another Crankie. This is the one we really want to get going. And we'll
sure, but I'll tell you about this one, because this one I think is a fabulous one. And this is sort of, to me, this was the one that was the most inspiring about the whole idea of Crankies. And as I said, I am not involved with the production of this one, but Oriel and Birgit and Sharon had put this together. And so what you're seeing here is the actual Crankie piece where they have drawn and painted and collaged the images on. And in the background, those are shadow puppets. So those are puppets made out of very simple materials, like of paper and cardboard, things like that. And they're held between the screen and a light source behind them that creates the shadow onto the screen that they can then move around. So it becomes much more of a performance piece than our ones where we're just cranking the scroll. But this one has a few extra elements added into it, which is similar to what we did with the big cloth piece at Ness Creek. And also this one actually shows the Ravenshoe Hollers group playing live.
Can you see that now?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to start from the beginning of this one.
Yes, I think this one, as I say, is very, very good. And if you make this the large screen on, it will be
Yes, we will. And we're just going to start it up here.
The first time I saw Darling Corey, she was standing down by the sea. 44's dragged around her body, and I fell straight down to water. Yeah, the last time I saw Darling Corey, she was running through the trees. 44's round around her body, and I let her go home west. Take her home, take her home, take her home, take her home to the meadow. Take her all down, cold hard ground. Take her home, take her home, take her home to the meadow. Gonna let darling go right down. Now can't you hear them bluebirds singing? It's a high and lonesome sound, singing for my darling Corey, way down in that gold hard ground. Wake up, darling Corey. Wake up, darling Corey. Wake up, darling Corey.
something about those harmonies. Pulls everything together.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
sort of
it's-
like a music video for that song for Raven She Hollers, and I think it was really well done. The
Yeah.
filming and everything. Yeah.
No, it's yeah. And so can you give us a little story, like behind the story of this, what this story is about? Like you see the still and the rum running and the car and the gun and the
You've
story.
basically got the whole thing, and that's a really old song, I believe. I don't
Okay.
know much about it myself. I am not the full-on music person. I just love the idea of integrating the music and the images like that, and the way it tells a story. It's interesting because when it showed up this way, it's a little bit different than when you look at the music video on YouTube direct yourself. It felt different, but it's still very much a mysterious kind of mystery thing going on with the story.
The voices are amazing. They go really well with the storyline. Like it really, really goes well. I encourage people just go and see Raven She Hollers on YouTube. Go to their channel. They got some
Absolutely.
amazing music, and you can see what they're doing. But so we.
So now we're back to we're kind of jumping all over on this,
Jumping over,
and that's all good.
I got to get it in place. This is an installation piece, and we talked about that vignette, that whole that you had talked about, right?
Exactly. So this is the actual Crankie that we made up at Ness Creek. Oriole, Birgit, Sharon, and myself, that we played with the fire and the music. And we decided to display it at the Chapel Gallery during a member's show because it was such a wonderful piece, we felt, and it really told its story, even if we set it up in a different way. So again, I think that's part of it, right? You have all these things that you're going to do, and you have this thing that you've produced, but you don't want it to just be a one-shot thing. So what else could we do with it? So we created it. I borrowed a bunch of microphone stands from my husband, from his band, and we put them all out, and we created this display with lights in the middle, so that, and setting up the puppets, the shadow puppets that we had created for the different screenshots. And so people could walk around and kind of create their story about this piece that depicted the land and different characters. And I think it really worked out quite effectively. And integrating bits of the natural environment as well really helped.
Yeah. And you really get a sense of that with that light in the background. It really vignettes this, you know, this key character in there, and it adds. It's not a flat thing, right? It adds value and light, and it feels. It's sort of almost like a spot camera. You know, the spotlight on in a movie or on stage, it would spotlight an area that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the backlighting looks lovely.
The character that you see on that screen, that was the character of Jack Milliken, who was one of the founders of the Ness Creek music festivals and things. And he was he would play the saw, and that actual puppet is articulated so that we could move his hands along the bowl, along the saw, and it was really kind of cool. So a lot of these puppets can actually move and do things. So
do you have a couple there of things in the background in your studio?
Pardon me?
Do you have a couple of things in your studio you could show us?
I do. These are not great ones, but when we did the Ness Creek thing, we also did a class with kids where they could make their own crankies, just like you see behind me, except they were making them out of cardboard boxes and things. We'd taken a bunch of boxes and things for them to make them with. And then we talked about how you could make different kind of shadow puppets and things as well. And so this is just a shadow puppet that was made out of a piece of cardboard. I guess I should show it this way. And toilet paper rolls and strings. So you would have this behind the screen, and you could move it, and it would be like, oh, this serpent is going along.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be real serpent-like. It just got to be, because it's a shadow, right?
It's a shadow, right? So you can do so many things and not have to be very, very careful about precise. And this one was another one. And this is the way Sharon is really the master of the shadow puppets, and she has all sorts of magnets and rods of which she can do it so that your hands never show up. The actual puppet can go very close to the screen with the light behind, and so the silhouette becomes very definite, which is really cool. There's so many ways once you get going that you can adapt all these things, and also then making the shadow puppets out of parts that are perhaps translucent as well. So then different colors and things will show through. There's just so many ways once you get going that things can change from something super duper simple to quite complicated, complex things like in the Darlin Corey video.
Yeah. I think we got one more slide. I think David or Stephen, you can bring that up, and we are there. This is our last hour. Bring up our slides.
Well, I'm sorry that there was all the technical problems with all the little bits, but I think people will get an idea of what it was about, and about how the wonders of collaboration, I think, is also great. And collaborating different forms of art together, to me, is just like, it's quite wonderful.
It's lovely working with people that have these skill sets that you can learn from. Like, there's always a learning curve, I guess, but there's always learning all the time and being able to draw and have ideas. But then you see other people that have, well, what if we make them 3-dimensional, or we make them like the Crankie, right? Make a Crankie. And I think it'd be fun if other people made Crankies, and it just expand on their ideas a little bit. So it's a little bit more, a little bit more value than just a flat piece of work. So it's really nice. Well, that was a great venture. I'm loving it. Yeah, too bad a little bit of production. We did get to view them though. So
and I do encourage people to look up about Crankie Theater. Once you look up and you see there's just like a vast amount people all over the world are doing that is very intriguing. It's so many different ideas. I think it's exciting.
No, it's very good. I didn't get Gord's the line video up. We did 3 videos, so we're good.
Definitely,
but,
you bet.
It was great. Loved it all. So.
Yeah,
but thank you so much. And if next time you come up another Crankie, come back, please, and show it to us.
I can get cranky a lot.
Okay, there you go. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Paul will be back next Thursday with another surprised artist, and then we will go from there. Thank you, Holly. Paul, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Hang on.